Welcome friends. Today I discuss about water absorption in plant and the title is Various Path of Water Absorption by Plants. Terrestrial plant, aquatic plant, epiphytic plant and mycorrhizal plant etc. absorb water by various ways because water is vital requisite for their physiological activities. Let us say here different mode of water absorption. Water is another vital need for plant kingdom. Modes of water absorption varies in different plants by different plant organs. These include firstly by mycorrhiza, secondly by velamen, thirdly by hygroscopic hairs and fourthly by root hairs. In case of mycorrhizal water absorption, the root hairs are not developed in some of coniferous plants. Thus, water is absorbed with the help of mycorrhizal association. For example, in pinus plant, a type of fungi live by symbiotic association with the roots. Thus, it includes mycorrhizal association. In case of mycorrhizal water absorption, fungi form a network surrounding the young roots and penetrate some hyphae into the roots. Thus, fungi absorb water and minerals and give them to the pinus plant, and in return, they take organic food matters from the pinus plant. Mainly capillary water is absorbed from soil by fungus through diffusion and osmosis process. In case of water absorption by velamen, absorption of water vapor of air takes place in some epiphytic or semi-epiphytic plants such as orchids and clivia species through the hanging roots. These roots have specialized tissue on the outside of their cortex called velamen. Velamen or velamen radicum is a spongy multiple epidermis that covers the roots of these plants. Velamen is hygroscopic in nature. Velamen absorbs water vapor from atmosphere like blotting paper. Diffusion and osmosis processes are involved in water absorption by velamen. Let us discuss about water absorption by hygroscopic hairs. Aerial roots are adventitious roots above the ground. Most aerial roots directly absorb the moisture from fog or humid air. For example, Tillandsia species. Hairs arises from the aerial parts of the epiphytic plants called hygroscopic hairs, which absorbs atmospheric moisture. Many other epiphytes like non-parasitic or semi-parasitic plants living on the surface of other plants have developed cups and scales that gather rainwater or dew. In case of water absorption by root hairs, water is absorbed by root hair zone because the root hairs lack cuticle and provide a large surface area. Root hairs have sticky walls by which they adhere tightly to soil particles. As the root hairs are extremely thin and large in number, they provide enormous surface area for absorption. The water situated in the soil is to reach up to the xylem of root. Root hairs remain in the contact of water. Here the path of water movement in root. Water moves from soil solution to root hairs, that means epiblemma, then cortex, then endodermis, known as passage cells, then pericycle cells, and then protoxylem and ultimately metaxylem. In case of water movement in root, at first water is adsorbed on pectin wall of root hairs, then water enters into the epidermis of root hairs. From here, water reaches up to the endodermis, that means passage cells, through the cortex. The wall of endodermis are suberized, but cells which lie in front of protoxylem are thin-walled, known as passage cells. These cells transfer water to the pericycle cells. From here, water reaches to the protoxylem and ultimately metaxylem from the thin-walled pericycle cells. Here the pathway of water movement in the root. Movement of water from soil to the vascular canal in roots can follow symplastic and apoplastic pathway. The terms apoplast and symplast were given by Munch. In case of symplast, a sustainable living path is known as symplast. This is the living passage. The movement of water from cell to cell through plasmodesmata is called symplastic path in plant. To discuss the pathway of water movement in the root, transmembrane pathway is another important event. This movement of water through cell membrane is also known as transmembrane pathway. It involves under symplastic pathway. In case of symplast, there are two methods. Firstly, non-vacuolar Symplast pathway and secondly, vacuolar Symplast pathway. In case of non-vacuolar Symplast pathway, water passes between adjacent cells through plasmodesmata. It does not enter into the vacuoles, but in case of vacuolar Symplast pathway, water crosses the tonoplast surrounding the vacuole. This pathway offers a lot of resistance. In case of apoplast, this is the non-living path in plants. Watered cell wall, intercellular space and xylem cavity associate together to form apoplast. Casparian strips blocks the apoplast, thus water must pass through passage cells via Symplast.